Every time someone sneezes at a flower or goes into shock after eating peanuts, there is a hidden reaction that is going on, which is hypersensitivity reaction. In this video, we will be understanding type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. It's also known as allergic reaction. Okay, so as you can see, I've already designed these illustrations. Using those illustrations, I'll be creating a final image that will explain you what type 1 hypersensitivity reaction is. So we'll start with the first component of this, which is allergen. Right, so I'm representing that with the star right over here. So first, let's understand what is allergen. An allergen is a structurally ordinary molecule, usually a protein or a glycoprotein, that immune system has learned to treat it as a threat. Which makes it an allergen isn't just the chemistry; it's the response that it initiates. Some of the examples are environmental allergens like pollen, like dust particles. Some of them are food, like peanut protein, specific peanut protein that can cause allergic reaction. Casein in the milk can also do that. Egg albumin can also do that. Next, you have drugs like penicillin, sulfur compounds. They can also cause allergic reactions. Snake venom is another one. Bee venom or wasp venom can cause potent allergic reactions. And there are other allergens like animal proteins that can cause allergic reactions, right? So this is very, very important for us to understand what are allergens. Allergen is something which can cause allergic reaction, right? So just imagine we have multiple allergens. Let me create multiple allergens right over here. So these are our allergens, and they will further, interact with our proteins, right? So we'll understand how that happens, how the response against these allergen basically takes place. So allergen first is going to interact with the cells. They are known as antigen-presenting cells. So in our body, we have cells that can present antigen to immune cells. So the first line of defense of our body, also we have various cells that can interact with these potent molecules. And those are known as antigen-presenting cells. Their role is basically actually to present the antigen to other immune cells. So right over here, I have APC, which is the short form for allergen, allergen representing cell or antigen representing cell. So this is the one cell that what this cell can do is basically can take up these molecules, right? One of the molecule that I'll take from here, and this cell is going to take it inside of it. So we'll have multiple of these molecules inside antigen presenting cell. Okay, so now we have these multiple molecules inside, and this cell is going to process these allergen and degrade these allergen molecules, and then present these antigenic molecules, especially the fragment of these allergens, to other cells, right? So we have separate cells that are going to come and get interacted with antigen presenting cells, and those are the helper T cells. So right over here, this is the antigen presenting cell. It's going to interact with another cell which is known as helper T cells. So let me also create the diagram for that. Right over here, this is our helper T cell. Now, helper T cell is going to interact with the antigen presenting cell through this allergen. So allergen will be dissociated, and small particles of the allergen or the antigen, they are going to activate these helper T cells. They specifically helper T cells are Th2 cells. So we have Th1 population, we have Th2. Th2 cell, helper T cells 2, they are going to get activated with major histocompatibility complex 2. So this is really important concept. We'll have multiple receptors working in this region. So MHC class 2 molecules will come from the APC side, and you will have different receptors coming from T cell side, and they will interact, and because of that interaction, this cell is going to release interleukins. Okay, so let me create interleukins. Right over here, I have the illustration for interleukins, and specific interleukins that are going to get generated are interleukin 4 and interleukin 13. These two molecules, these cytokines, really, really important cytokines, they are essential for further signaling and further activation of the B cell. So now what will happen? We have B cell. Where are the B cells? Right over here. We have B cells. B cells are going to get influenced by these cytokines, and further this B cell is going to change into a plasma cell that will produce IgE specifically. So because of this interaction, and I also need arrow for that, right over here, this B cell is going to get changed into IgE producing B cell, or we call them plasma cells right over here. These are the plasma cells. Let's bring them up. Plasma cells has the ability to create a lot of antibodies, right? And what we are going to get is antibodies. So these are the IgE antibodies, and this is the structure of the antibody, right? So because of this activation, we'll have IgE antibodies that are getting produced from the activated B cells, right over here. These are the IgE antibodies. So if I tell you this story again in a very concise way, a few steps they are going to happen. The allergen is captured by antigen-presenting cells, which is also known as APC. That presentation will happen to Th2 cells via MSC class 2 molecules. After that, Th2 cells, they are going to release IL-4 and IL-13, and that will lead to the class switching in the B cell, and it will start producing IgE antibodies. And IgE antibodies, they are really important when it comes to allergic reaction. Okay, so now moving on to the next step, which is really important, and I guess I need to reorganize this a little bit so that I can utilize the space for other illustrations. And let me just bring everything to the top, because I have enough space over there, right? So as you can see, what happens is this B cell is converted into the activated B cell or plasma cell producing IgE antibodies. Now these are IgE antibodies, and you will not have just one antibody produced. You will have multiple antibodies. So why don't we create multiple antibodies so that it is clear that we'll have multiple antibodies produced. Now what is going to happen? This is going to interact with mast cells. So these are the cells that are playing a central role in causing the activation of the immune system, leading to a lot of symptoms associated with allergy. So what will happen when allergen interacted with APC, cause the activation of Th2 cells, leading to cytokine production, leading to B cell activation, causing antibodies. These antibodies, they are going to further come and bind with mast cells, and there are specific receptors called FcεRI receptors. Right over there, I have one that I've created. Okay, so I'm going to place it on top of the mast cell right over here. And what is going to happen, that this receptor is going to interact with the antibody like that. Okay, it's going to capture that antibodies like that. Because the antibody Fc fragment of the antibody will have affinity towards this receptor, which is present on the mast cell. This is the mast cell, and inside mast cell you have granules, and if these granules, they are released, this is going to cause serious allergic reaction in the body. And we'll know what happened next. Now, this is where the sensitization of the mast cell happened, right? So if I briefly explain again, so what happens is allergen specific IgE antibodies, they're going to bind with high affinity Fc receptors on the surface of the mast cells. Now, mast cells, they are sensitized. Now, degranulation will not happen right over here. So you need a second exposure of the allergen. Now, what happened is IgE antibodies, they are coated with mast cells, they are coated with IgE antibodies, and they are ready to interact with the allergen. Now, what will happen, and let me move these antibodies a little bit on that side. What will happen, allergen, if comes back again, it's going to immediately go to this mast cell where antibody is already produced like this, and that will trigger the reaction, which will cause the degranulation of mast cell. So what will happen? We'll have activated cells. These are the mast cells, and look at that. These mast cells, they are releasing granules into the system, and these granules will have mediators. And once this mast cell is changed like this, it's producing a lot of granules, and in granules will have mediators, and that are going to cause a lot of problems. And let me bring the mediators separately also right over here. So we'll have these mediators, these granules coming from the mast cells, and these are the mediators coming from the mast cells, causing allergic reaction, and there are various symptoms. I'm not going to talk about the intracellular signaling pathway, but calcium plays an important role in degranulation of the mast cells. So that probably we can make another video on that one, right? So what happens? So let's talk about some of the mediators. You will have histamine, which will lead to the vasodilation. That will also cause itching. And bronchoconstriction can also be there if that goes through the airways. You have heparin, which is anticoagulant. You will have various proteases like tryptase. You can have chymases, and that can cause tissue remodeling. You can have leukotrienes, you can have prostaglandins that can cause fever, pain, vasodilation, and so on. So as you can see, it can cause serious complications. And what are the clinical outcomes? Sneezing, itching, watery eyes, all those things that you have seen are the initial symptoms associated with allergy. It can also lead to serious reactions, like it can cause systemic reaction, which is anaphylaxis, that can cause airway obstruction, that can cause cardiovascular collapse. So anaphylaxis is basically degranulation happening everywhere at once. So all the mast cells, they are getting activated, and anaphylaxis means all these cells are degranulating every part of the body, right? So the same mediators can cause lot of reaction, and the scale is huge, right? So this is basically how the type 1 hypersensitivity reaction occurs. These are the components that are involved in type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. I hope I was able to convey the entire pathway in an interactive way so that you are able to see what's going on, and how, the first time when allergen comes, there is no reaction. Then when second time this comes, this can cause, strong allergic reaction. So this is how the type 1 hypersensitivity reaction actually works, right? So I'll be bringing more videos in near future similar to these kind of videos. And if you like the video, then please hit the like button, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and do share the videos with your friends. Thank you so much.